Every year, NFL teams spend months preparing for the draft. And every year, at least one pick leaves the entire world thinking, what are they doing? From quarterbacks nobody expected, to trades that make zero sense, to picks so shocking they broke the internet. These are the biggest what moments in NFL draft history. Now, this isn't about the worst picks ever. This is about the ones that shocked everyone in the moment. The picks where analysts froze, fans booed instantly, and entire draft boards got flipped upside down. And trust me, some of these still don't make sense. Number 10, Johnny Manziel, 2014 Browns, number 22. Few prospects have ever had this much hype. Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, a Heisman winner, a superstar, a phenomenon, but also a risk. Off-field concerns, questions about maturity.
With the 22nd pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Johnny Manziel.
The immediate reaction was chaos. The Browns traded up to draft Manziel. Cleveland sent the 26th overall pick and a third-round selection to the Eagles to move up 4 spots to draft him. Media frenzy dominated the airwaves. This wasn't just a pick, it was a spectacle. Manziel's NFL career unraveled quickly. He struggled on the field and faced significant off-field issues, leading to his release after just 2 seasons. He finished with more interceptions than touchdowns and never established himself as a reliable starter. The Browns remained stuck in their long search for a franchise quarterback. This pick became one of the most infamous busts in modern NFL history. Manziel revealed later that if the Browns had not traded up, he likely would have gotten drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs at number 23, where Andy Reid was interested in him. Imagine how that could have potentially reshaped modern NFL history. Number 9, Ted Ginn Jr., 2007 Dolphins, number 9. In 2007, the Miami Dolphins needed a spark, and one name dominated the conversation: Brady Quinn. A high-profile quarterback, a projected franchise player, many expected Miami to make the obvious choice.
With the 9th pick in the 2007 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Ted Ginn, wide receiver, Ohio State.
The immediate reaction? Shock. Fans booed loudly. There was immediate confusion over passing on Quinn. Even Brady Quinn himself was caught on camera, visibly mouthing the word "wow" in the stunning aftermath of the draft pick announcement. They didn't just go another direction, they ignored the script entirely. Ginn had a long and productive NFL career as a return specialist and deep threat, but he never became a true number 1 receiver. Brady Quinn, the player most people expected Miami to draft, also failed to live up to expectations, which softened some of the criticism over time. However, the immediate reaction to the pick reflected confusion about the team's priorities. The decision became symbolic of a franchise searching for identity. It remains one of the more memorable draft night shockers. Speaking of people named Brady. Number 8, Kyle Brady, 1995 Jets, number 9. In 1995, one name dominated the draft: Warren Sapp. A dominant force, a game wrecker, a future star. But there were concerns, off-field questions, uncertainty. With the famously raucous Jets fans in Radio City Music Hall loudly chanting, "We want Sapp," the team decided to go in a completely different direction.
With the 9th pick in the first round, the New York Jets select tight end from Penn State, Kyle Brady.
Then, boos rained down. Fans expected Warren Sapp. One Jets fan attending the draft was filmed saying, "This has to be the biggest mockery I've ever seen in my entire life," while his friend beside him declared angrily, "If we could trade a coach, I would trade him right now." They passed on greatness for safety. Brady had a long and respectable career as a blocking tight end, but he never became a star. Meanwhile, Warren Sapp developed into a Hall of Fame defensive player and one of the most dominant forces of his era. The contrast between the two careers amplified criticism of the decision. The pick became one of the most infamous examples of passing on elite talent. It remains a defining moment in Jets draft history. Number 7, Clelin Ferrell, 2019 Raiders, number 4. By 2019, the Las Vegas Raiders were rebuilding. New city, new identity, new GM Mike Mayock, thought by many to be a draft genius. And with 3 first-round picks, they had a chance to change everything. At number 4, the board was stacked. Elite talent still available. Defensive end Josh Allen, Ed Oliver, even Devin White early in the process. Most projections had one name locked in: Josh Allen.
With the fourth pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select Clelin Ferrell.
Silence. Then confusion. Todd McShay noted Ferrell was projected much later. Ferrell wasn't unknown, but he wasn't this. Ferrell never lived up to the number 4 overall selection. While he was a solid rotational player at times, he never became a dominant pass rusher or defensive cornerstone. Meanwhile, players like Josh Allen developed into high-impact stars elsewhere. The pick became symbolic of the Raiders' draft struggles during that era. Instead of accelerating their rebuild, it highlighted major evaluation missteps from a team that had been plagued with them for years. Number 6, Tim Tebow, 2010, Broncos, number 25. Some prospects divide opinion. Others break it completely. Tim Tebow was both. A college legend at Florida, Heisman winner, champion, leader. But as an NFL prospect, everything was questioned. Throwing mechanics, accuracy, fit in a pro offense, most projections had him at a mid-round pick, a project. But then, the Broncos not only didn't wait, but they traded their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round picks to the Ravens to move up to number 25 overall. And then,
And with the 25th pick in the 2010 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Tim Tebow.
the world was stunned. Mel Kiper Jr. questioned the value. John Gruden showed intrigued but acknowledged the risk. They didn't just draft a quarterback, they drafted a debate. Tebow had one of the strangest short runs in NFL history. He struggled as a passer but led the Broncos to a playoff win in dramatic fashion. Despite the success, the team moved on quickly, replacing him with Peyton Manning. Tebow never regained a starting role in the NFL. The pick remains one of the most polarizing and unconventional quarterback selections ever. Before we get to the top 5, let's take a quick look at a few honorable mentions. Jordan Love, 2020, 26th overall pick. This happened during the pandemic era, so the live reaction was more muted, but it was still absolutely shocking because future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers was still under contract. He was coming off a 4,000-yard, 26-touchdown, 4-interception season, a 13-3 record, and an NFC North title. Yet the Packers traded up in the first round to draft Love instead of drafting a wide receiver weapon for Rodgers. This move stunned the world and seemed to be the first massive public validation of the heavily rumored internal conflict between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers organization. Jake Locker, 2011, number 8. Wow, now we have our first shocker of the draft. That was Rich Eisen's reaction when the Tennessee Titans selected Jake Locker with the 8th pick in 2011. In a draft that featured several quarterbacks with question marks, including Blaine Gabbert, Christian Ponder, and others, the first stunner came when Locker's name was called. Many saw him as a potential 2nd or 3rd rounder. He ended up being a cautionary tale of reaching for need versus taking best player available. His career only lasted 4 years, finishing with a 9-14 record as a starter with a 57.5% completion rate before abruptly retiring at age 27. E.J. Manuel, 2013, number 16 overall. A surprise selection, Manuel was generally projected to go in the 2nd or 3rd round, making his selection as the top quarterback off the board at pick 16 a shock to many analysts. Because he was the only first-round quarterback, significant pressure was placed on him to become a franchise QB immediately. He ultimately only started 17 games for the Bills over his career, with a record of 6-11, 19 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. Tyson Alualu, 2010, number 10. He was broadly expected to be a 2nd-round pick, but no one expected him to be the 10th overall pick in 2010. When his name was being announced during the draft, many viewers thought the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell was mispronouncing it or making a mistake because he was so far off most people's radar with this pick. Wrote McShay, Jacksonville used the 10th overall pick to take California DT Tyson Alualu, who we feel is a good player, but is only the number 35 overall player on our board. Darius Hayward-Bay, 2009, number 7. The moment that Maryland receiver DHB was drafted, Mike Mayock exclaimed, "That is a classic Al Davis pick. He's a height, weight, speed guy, the fastest guy at the combine. My issue is inconsistent hands, and to me, that is way earlier than he should have been picked." Both the panel and the live draft audience were stunned that DHB was selected, while Michael Crabtree, the wide receiver who just won 2 Biletnikoff Awards in college, was still on the board. He finished his career with 18 total touchdowns in 10 years. Number 5, Daniel Jones, 2019 Giants, number 6. By 2019, the New York Giants were stuck in the middle, but nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared fans for this next one. The Giants won the clock with the number 6 overall pick, and they also held pick 17 later. Most experts expected a defensive star, a cornerstone player like edge rusher Josh Allen or linebacker Devin White. And if they did want a quarterback, they had pick 17.
The New York Giants select Daniel Jones, quarterback.
Gentlemen, what are you doing? You have Dwayne Haskins there, you have Josh Allen.
Boos rained down. Analysts froze. Mel Kiper Jr. said, "I'm stunned. This is way too high." They didn't just reach. They reached when they didn't have to. Jones's tenure with the Giants was uneven. He showed flashes, including a playoff win, but struggled with turnovers and inconsistency. The Giants doubled down with a large contract extension, committing despite mixed results. Instead of solving the position, the pick prolonged uncertainty. Number 4, Sebastian Janikowski, 2000, Raiders, number 17. In the NFL draft, first-round picks are reserved for impact players, quarterbacks, pass rushers, franchise cornerstones. In 2000, the Oakland Raiders had an opportunity to sign one, and they used it on a kicker, Sebastian Janikowski. It was announced as the first major curveball of the draft. Yes, he had a huge leg. Yes, he was dominant at Florida State, but this just wasn't an unusual pick. He was a kicker. It broke the rules of the draft. Janikowski actually had a long and productive career, becoming one of the strongest-legged kickers in NFL history. However, the positional value never matched the draft slot. Teams routinely find comparable kickers much later. Meanwhile, future All-Pro running back Shaun Alexander was picked by Seattle 2 picks later. While not a bust individually, the pick remains one of the most criticized uses of first-round draft capital ever. Number 3, Michael Penix Jr., 2024 Falcons, number 8. In 2024, the Atlanta Falcons made their plan clear. They signed Kirk Cousins to a massive 4-year, $180 million deal. A veteran quarterback, a win-now move. So when the draft arrived, the expectation was simple. Build around him. Defense, weapons, support.
With the 8th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Michael Penix Jr.
Well, there it is.
Wait, what? Booger McFarland said, "I don't understand this pick." Louis Riddick questioned the timeline. They didn't just draft a quarterback, they drafted a contradiction. This story is still unfolding, but the immediate impact was confusion. Penix entered a situation where he wasn't expected to play soon, limiting early value from a top 10 pick. Meanwhile, the Falcons passed on players who could contribute immediately. Penix has gotten the opportunity to play within his first couple of years, with mixed results, and the injury history that clouded his draft projection has continued to plague him early in his NFL career. Meanwhile, Cousins was released in the 2026 offseason and signed later with the Raiders. If Penix becomes a star, it could justify the move, but if not, it risks becoming a case study in poor roster alignment. Number 2, Mitch Trubisky, 2017 Bears, number 2. By 2017, the Chicago Bears were desperate. Not competitive, not stable, and most importantly, no quarterback. They held the 3rd overall pick, right in position to let the draft come to them. There were options in this quarterback class, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, but Chicago made a wild decision. They traded up 1 spot. They gave up multiple picks, the 2017 number 3 overall pick, plus a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, and a 2018 3rd-round pick to move from 3 to 2.
With the 2nd pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Mitchell Trubisky.
There was confusion. Not excitement, confusion. Mike Mayock said, "I don't understand the trade." Skip Bayless later said, "I'm going to be charitable and give it a D-." Bears fans are devastated by this indefensibly idiotic move. And here's the part that made it worse. The San Francisco 49ers weren't even taking a quarterback. They paid full price in a market with no bidders. Trubisky never lived up to the investment. He showed flashes, including a playoff appearance and a Pro Bowl as an alternate, but inconsistency defined his tenure. He finished his Bears career with modest production before being replaced. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes became a generational superstar, and Deshaun Watson initially developed into an elite quarterback before off-field issues took over. This decision didn't just miss, It reshaped the Bears' trajectory for years. Number 1, Ricky Williams, 1999. Every team wants a star, but in 1999, Mike Ditka wanted one more than anything. Ricky Williams, a Heisman winner, a dominant force. Most teams would trade up, give up a few picks. Not Ditka. He traded everything. An entire draft class and future picks. The Saints trade away every pick it had in the draft, 6 picks, plus its first and third round picks the following year to Washington for the 5th overall pick, with which they selected Williams. League reaction widely called it reckless. Media labeled it the most extreme trade in draft history. This wasn't strategy, it was obsession. Williams was productive, but never justified the massive cost. The Saints lacked depth due to the lost picks and struggled as a result. Williams was eventually traded and found success elsewhere. Meanwhile, Ditka was fired shortly after. Also, Washington used this boatload of picks to do some trade maneuvering and land multiple All-Pro players, including Champ Bailey, LeVar Arrington, and John Jansen. This move remains one of the most lopsided gambles in NFL history. What do you think was the most shocking NFL draft moment of all time? Did we miss any? Let us know what you think in the comments.